Welcome to New Tracks Modeling. New Tracks provides unique mentoring opportunities to enhance your modeling skills by connecting with talented modelers and manufacturers from around the globe who generously share their knowledge and artistic expertise. Build your confidence, refine modeling techniques, and share your projects with a supportive community of fellow modelers, all while enjoying the world's most rewarding hobby. Join us every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern on Zoom and YouTube for our free live program. Missed a program? No problem. Individual show segments are uploaded to YouTube for convenient on-demand viewing. Be sure to connect with the New Tracks community by joining the New Tracks Facebook page, where you can interact with other modelers and see what they are modeling. Visit our website at www.newtracksmodeling.com, where you'll find information about upcoming events and the latest issue of our magazine, New Tracks Modeler. New Tracks Modeler features articles from builds on the show, exciting new products, and other great articles. And now, here is the host of New Tracks Modeling, Tom Farrell.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to New Tracks Modeling, the live Zoom and YouTube show that airs every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. This evening, I'm broadcasting live from Columbus, Ohio. This location for me is enemy territory, as it is home to the Ohio State Buckeye football team, currently ranked number 1 in the rankings. Penn State, the Nittany Lions, a far superior university, is number 2 or 3 based on the polls. We'll see November 1st who's the better team when they play each other. But I digress. Let's get back on the main line. Tonight's broadcast is part of a growing platform founded by Jim Kello. Here this evening, Jim Kello founded New Tracks Modeling to build a supportive and educational community where mentors help modelers improve their modeling skills. New Tracks Modeling Live extends beyond this live program. We're proud to support an active Facebook page, a dedicated website, and our widely acclaimed New Tracks Modeler digital magazine, which now reaches approximately 10,000 subscribers. We're also excited to continue growing the New Tracks Modeling Scholarship Program, an initiative you'll learn more about later when we run a video. Stay tuned as we evolve, offering even more in-depth articles, expert tips, and inspiring stories and programs, all designed to support and celebrate model railroading, a hobby that we all share. Everything we do is completely free to our participants. Our entire team operates on a volunteer basis, supporting the model railroading community. Before we begin tonight's lineup, we'd like to thank our sponsor, Brennan's Model Railroading.
Tonight's New Tracks Modeling Meetup is sponsored by Brennan's Model Railroading. For over 25 years, Brennan's Model Railroading has been offering unique products focused on the O-scale market. Their flagship product, Brennan's Better Ballast, was an instant hit and continues to be the industry leader. The prototypical size and natural color blend of real crushed granite make it the choice for discerning modelers. Since then, Brennan's has developed a complementary line of natural ground cover materials. Brennan's also has craftsman kits that anyone can build. The complete photographically illustrated instructions assume you've never done this before, and explain in step-by-step detail how to create an outstanding model. The Frank Ellison Tribute series of kits are amazing additions to any layout. These kits take Frank Ellison's scratch-built iconic structures to a new level using modern methods and materials with Dennis Brennan's additional details and amazing instructions. See the complete line of products on the Brennan's Model Railroading website. Use the QR code to visit.
I spoke to Dennis Brennan, proprietor of Brennan's Model Railroading, this afternoon, and he has 3 new kits he's working on. 2 on the Frank Ellison Signature Series, and another new kit that he didn't exactly tell me what it was, but it'll be coming out shortly. Most of you know I'm doing a Watch Me Build on a new kit from Brennan's Model Railroading, the Gilbert Substation. It's now completed. I'll feature the part 2 and the finishing of that program next week. This week, of course, you'll see in a moment, We have the MyBuild and a special program dedicated to Pat Rivard getting his Master Model Railroad Award, Achievement Award. So this evening, basically, we have two things going on. We have the return of Jim Kello. He's going to be hosting the segment for Pat Rivard, who has achieved his Master Model Railroader Award. And we'll have several guests on this evening, and he'll have a PowerPoint outlining what was required to earn that award and the models that he and things that he did to accomplish that. And then we have our MyBuild. And so before we get rolling this evening, I'd like to highlight our New Tracks Modeling Scholarship Program. And here's a brief video on that.
The New Tracks Modeling Mentoring Scholarship is the only national scholarship for model railroaders from a volunteer nonprofit organization. For academic year 2025-26, we are awarding 4 $2,000 scholarships for model railroaders pursuing a STEAM degree. We hope to award a similar number of scholarships for the 2026-27 academic year. We believe it is critical to support the next generation of model railroaders. You can support the New Tracks Modeling Mentoring Scholarship by donating online using the Zephy platform or directly by check. All donations are tax deductible.
Do we have Hank Primus in the show tonight?
Yep, I'm here.
Hey, Hank, would you like to say a few words on the scholarship program? Hank is now the president of the New Tracks Mentoring Scholarship Program. Hank, what can you tell us about the scholarship?
Well, actually, there are two things I want to talk about. There are two different, a right and a left hand. Let's start with the right hand that talks about we need donors. Anything, $5, $10, and it's very easy to do. The Zephy thing lets you send it right in with no problem. And we appreciate anything you can do. On the other hand, we are also looking for students that want to take advantage of these scholarships. We really need you to either volunteer to take a banner to any train show you have, or possibly speak to students so that they can be aware of it and things like that. Pretty much that's all I have to say on it. I do appreciate every donation we get. Those $10 and $20 add up, and they add up to a scholarship because all the money that we receive goes towards scholarships. Everything, all the other expenses, we take care of ourselves. We do not use any donations to help run any of the projects. So I appreciate if you send in your money, and thank you very much.
And he's absolutely right. 100% of your donations go directly to the scholarship. And as I said last week in last week's show, but we have quite a few people here that weren't on last week's show, I had the distinction to be the opening speaker at the National Model Railroad Narrow Gauge Convention in St. Louis approximately 2 weeks ago. And I spoke regarding the New Tracks Scholarship Program. I opened up the program by asking the audience, which there was approximately 400 people in the audience. I said, how many people out there are familiar with New Tracks and the New Tracks Mentoring Scholarship? And quite frankly, to my surprise, more than half of the people in the audience were familiar with the program and with the scholarship. So then I said, there's 400 of you out there. And coincidentally, every week we get approximately 300 to 400 viewers on this live program after we account for the YouTube viewers. And I said, if everyone in the audience today would make a $10 donation, that would be $4,000, and that would afford us to award 2 scholarships or increase the value of the scholarships that we're giving right now. And I said, everyone that's out there in the audience can certainly afford $10. You've come all the way to St. Louis for a national show. You're all in the vendor room buying train stuff and paraphernalia. Why wouldn't you make a $10 donation to ensure that the hobby continues by supporting the youth in model railroading? So I make this plea every week. I make this statement every week that, look, I am not seeing these $10 donations that I'm asking for. We give you guys free entertainment, and in return, we ask for support for some of our programs. It doesn't cost much to run New Tracks Modeling. We're not about that. What we're about is the scholarship program. And if you could take the time this evening, while I'm still the treasurer, so I can go online and see a bunch of donations, a donation of your choice. It can be as little as $10. Go onto the website, newtracksmodeling.com, and without too many pull downs, you can get to the location where you can make a donation. You can scan what the hell is it called? The code, the Zephy code, and you can make your donation directly from your phone, or you can do it the old-fashioned way and write a check. All the information's on there. And it would be really important to the New Tracks gang and Hank, and most importantly to the students, that you make these contributions and forward the model railroading to the youth. Okay, well, enough about that. Now, yeah, here's the all the information you need to make a donation. So thank you for those that have made donations, and thank you, Hank, for taking this over. And now I'd like to begin this evening's program. What we have going on this evening is, again, we're going to have the return of Jim Kello, our founder. He's going to run this segment regarding Pat Rivard's achievement in obtaining the Master Model Railroad Award certificate from the NMRA. So, Jim, welcome back. Anytime you want to take this over, you're welcome. You're muted. Still muted. Maybe forget about that, taking it over again.
There you go. How about that?
There you go. Okay, you're on.
Okay. Let me comment a minute about the scholarship. I haven't been on this show for quite a while. And as most of you know, when I was on the show, I believe in the scholarship so much that I used to go overboard about my comments about the scholarship and about donations. This is the last show that Tom will be treasurer because he's got so many other things on his plate right now. He just didn't have time to continue doing everything. He's still a board member of our nonprofit, but Bob Davidson is going to be taking over as treasurer in about a week. So I know how hard that Tom has been working and talking about the scholarship. And I really would appreciate it if you guys could consider, whether it's $10, $1, 50 cents, I don't really care what it is. But I really hope that some of you will consider making a donation to Tom, because I know how frustrated he is that he keeps asking for what we consider to be a fairly small sum, and not even every month, but just once here and once there kind of thing, to try to show the community support for the scholarship program, which I believe is critical for the growth of our hobby in the future. If we're going to bring along the young kids that are interested in the hobby now, nothing can help them, in my opinion, better than help them finance their higher education. So I really hope that you'll consider doing something. There's a Zephy account Tom will give you his address in a minute. And Tom, I'm going to come back to you so you can give him an address. If you'll send the check, you don't have to do it through Zeffy because Zeffy requires a credit card. But yeah, if you'll put that up and just leave it up for a minute, Phil or Tom, you can send the check to Tom, directly to Tom at his home. And I know how much this would mean to him. He, believe it or not, being the host for this show for any length of time is not the easiest thing to do. And Tom has done it yeoman fashion, and trying to collect money and get money given when all we are is a bunch of model railroad volunteers doing the best we can to try to get more people building models and more people providing mentoring to help improve the skills of the existing modelers in our hobby and future modelers that are the young kids coming along. So if you can see your way clear for $1, for anything, it would mean so much to Tom, whether he wants to admit it or not. I know how much this would mean. And for his last time here being involved with the scholarship to the treasurer, I hope that a lot of you out there, whether you're listening to me on YouTube or you're on the Zoom Live, I hope that you'll consider making a small donation to the scholarship program this evening. Now, with that said, we're really honored tonight to have the National Achievement Program Chairman, Ray Pershing, MMR number 797, joining us this evening. And Ray, I can't thank you enough for doing this. If it had not been for you, I don't think that we would be here tonight.
You muted yourself.
To help him complete the requirements for his MMR. And if it hadn't have been for your help and your motivation to step forward and really kind of continue to push Pat along the path and answer his emails and answer his questions as they came up. Every time I've talked to him, all he does is tell me what a fantastic job you did helping him. And Ray, I can't thank you personally enough on behalf of everybody at New Tracks. This is the second person with New Tracks, by the way, that's gotten their MMR. The first person, and this is my fault, got his MMR, and it never occurred to me to try to do something like this for him. And that's my fault, and I'm really sorry for that. And Jack, you're going to have to forgive me because you know what my problem is. The first person that got it, his first name is Jack, and his last name is Jack
Jottle.
Didle,
like a J.
See, I can't handle it. I've never been able to get it right. I always embarrass him every time I've introduced him for the last 5 years, I guess. But Jack, thank you. I'm so sorry that I didn't think about this when you got your MMR. But
no problem at all.
But thank you so much for everything that you've done for New Tracks in the past and for being here for Pat tonight. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you, Jim.
So Jack was the first one. Pat is the second one. And I'd like to turn this over to Pat to have him talk a little bit about the different certificates that he got and what his journey toward the MMR was like, working with Ray and the other people that helped judge his models and helped him get to a point where he felt comfortable in sending in the final documentation for his MMR. So Pat, if you could talk to us a little bit about that, and congratulations. I'm so proud that you're the second person connected with New Tracks to get your MMR.
Thanks a lot, Jim. Appreciate it very much. I'd like to give a few acknowledgments here while I have a chance, and gratitude for the guidance and support. I wish to express my heartfelt gratitude to Ray Persing for his dedicated support and invaluable assistance throughout my journey in the Master Model Railroad Achievement Program. His commitment to helping me achieve this milestone and has been instrumental in my success. I am equally thankful to Jim Kello, whose encouragement and timely motivation gave me the final push, like a kick in the pants, to complete my achievement. His belief in my abilities helped me persevere this crucial moment. A special thanks goes to Gary Shergold, who has served as my mentor. Gary's guidance, wisdom, and mentorship has been a source of inspiration and learning throughout this endeavor. Appreciation for friendships and family. Over the years, I have been fortunate to form lasting friendships with many wonderful people. In particular, I am grateful to the friends on NewTrack, Tom, Phil, Ken, and as well, Ed Hayden and Don Eastman, who are both MMRs, whose camaraderie and support have enriched my experience and made the journey memorable. I must especially acknowledge my daughter Elaine and my lovely wife Mary. Their unwavering support and encouragement have sustained me through challenging times. Without their help, I might have given up on this goal. Finally, I thank the good Lord for granting me the ability to pursue my passion and for allowing me to do what I love. Thanks again, Jim. Thanks to everybody. Now,
Ray, I told you, that's all I've been hearing for a month now is how fantastic you were getting in this MMR.
Well, all I can say is he must have incredibly low standards for that. But it was my pleasure.
Thanks again. Anyway, we'll get on with the 7 requirements I had. And thanks, Greg. Earning my Master Model Railroad Award for NMRA by you-know-who, 805. Achieving Master Model Railroad is a challenging reward and a journey. Earn at least 7 of the 11 available achievement program certificates. Submit a statement of qualification for each one. Next one. Railroad equipment. Master Builder Motive Power, Master Builder Cars, Railroad Setting, Master Builder Structures, Master Builder Scenery, Master Builder Prototype Models. Railroad Construction and Operation, Model Railroad Engineer Civil, Model Railroad Engineer Electrical, and Chief Dispatcher. And Service to the Hobby and NMRA Member, Association Official, Association Volunteer, and Model Railroad Author. Go ahead. Build 8 operable scale models of railroad cars. That's the one I had to do. Had to earn a score of 87.5 points on 4 of the 8 models in either an NMRA sponsored contest or in an AP Merit Award judging. Submit a statement of qualification, which should include the following. The attachment provides detailed description of the model, identification of the scratch built feature, list of all the commercial components appearing on each model, materials used in building the models, and the verification of the merit awards that you have received beforehand. These are 4 of the cars of the many that I did. And the first one is the little bobber caboose with the wrong kind of trucks underneath. I was told that one, but I'm trying to find the proper trucks for it. The second one is they're both scratch built. The second was a water car that I built, and the flat car, scratch built. That particular tank on that water car was made out of a roller from a paint roller. I peeled off all that stuff and I cleaned it up and primed it and painted it and finished it. And I moved on to the next one. The kit was built from a LaBelle kit. It was a passenger car, which I super detailed the interior and the bottom with all the brake rigging and whatever I have. The next one was the one I scratch built. It's called the fuel car. This is out of my own imagination. That's what I thought it would look like. As you can see, I scratch built the flat car. I added all the tanks, the pumps, everything that makes the thing work. move on to the next one. Constructs 12 scale structures. At least 6 different types of structures must be represented in the total. One of the 6 types must be a bridge or trestle. You can see a trestle in my picture on here in my background. I scratch built that one entirely. And must be super detailed with commercial parts if necessary. Up to 3 of the 12 total models must be low relief structures. And you got to earn a score of 87.5 points on the 6 of the 12 models in either the NMRA sponsored contest or an AP Merit Award evaluation. Next one, structure submit a completed statement of qualification, which shall include the following attachment giving detailed descriptions of the model, identification of the scratch-built features, list of all the commercial components appearing on each model, the materials used in building the models, including a notation that the model is operational if intended to be, and the verification of the merit awards, photocopies of the certificates or signed judging forms, see below. Next. There's one of the models I built that is the Suncoast model, which was super detailed, finished, painted, all new. The railings and stairways were all done by me. I didn't like the ones they had, so I rebuilt them all. Added lighting, extra windows, put a dump underneath the coaling tower. That was an interesting model to build. The next picture shows the one I had on New Tracks a while back is the engine house that I built. Two car or 2 train, 2 engine house, 2 track engine house. That's totally scratch built. The only thing I used on there were Grant Line windows and a type of wallpaper that looked like stone. But all the rest is totally scratch built. If you ever want to check it out, go back on the New Track site and you'll see it all. Next. Construct a completed section of a model railroad at least 60 square feet in O scale, or 45 square feet in S scale, or 32 square feet in HO scale, or 18 square feet in N scale, or other scales in proportion relationship to HO scale. This completed section must contain the necessary scenic elements of terrain, structures, background, lighting, and realism, conformity as combined to achieve a realistic effect using applicable NMRA standards in that particular model railroad scene. The intent of this category is the prototypical rendering of the scenic elements from the ground up. Now here you can see some of my scenery. That's the curved trestle I scratch built, and in the background you can see rock work and the trees that I scratch built, and the rock work with the bushes on them, and I tried to blend everything together so that it looked like it was part of that scene. The next one you can see one where they were cutting the logs and using a bulldozer, which I kit built and put in place. It makes it look like the real thing was going on. And you can see some of the rock work in the background close up, along with the trees that I scratch built. The next picture shows a scene of the trestle, the straight trestle in the background, and the trees that I built around there. You think I like building trees from looking at all this, you know, I do, very much so. Anyway, that's just to give you an idea what the scenery should look like, or try to look like. Next. Engineer civil. Prepare one original scale drawing of the model railroad track plan, identifying overall size, scale, track elevations, curve radii, and turnout sizes. And that was the fun thing where Ray kind of showed me how to do that properly. But it was very interesting. I learned a lot from that. The plan must include adequate terminal facilities for handling freight and/or passenger cars, storage and service of motive power, a minimum of 1 mainline passing siding and 4 switch locations, exclusive of yards, interchanges, Ys, and reversing loops. Provision for turning motive power, except in switchback roads, trolley lines, etc. Provision for simultaneous operation of at least 2 mainline trains in either direction. Next. We're stuck on this one. Where'd you go, Phil? There we are. There's a picture of the track plan. It shows the overall size of the room. And actually, it doesn't show you all the radii, which was 48-inch radius. And the turntable, the engine house, cooling tower area. There was a much more detailed one, but when I put it up there, it was so much clutter that I couldn't make it look clear anyway. That's basically what you're looking for in civil. Next. Construct and demonstrate on one's own or club layout the satisfactory operation of an electrical control system on a model railroad capable of simultaneously independent control of two mainline trains in both directions and containing at least too long to list. See website for more details, that's for sure. Note the requirements for model railroad engineer. Electrical may appear lengthy and complicated, but they are not overly so. The reason that they are so long is to offer more options for meeting the requirements. You don't even have to do all of the work on a simple layout. You can do some of it on a club layout, some in your basement and some on your garden railroad, etc. Here's some of the electrical drawings that I did of the switches. And the other one is the DCC command control system and how it was wired to my track work. Any questions you can ask me about it later. Serve actively on the NMRA committees, national, region, or division, long enough to accumulate at least 60 certified time units. I spent at least, I think, 8 years in the WOD division. Active satisfactory service as a national committee chair, or you can do it as a regional chair or a national committee member shall accumulate at the rate of 2 time units per month. So I was quite a few years doing it, so I think it was no problem with that one. Next. Active satisfactory service as a region committee member, as a division official or committee chair shall accumulate at least 1 point per unit per month. Active satisfactory service as a division committee or division board member shall accumulate at least a rate of 1/2 time unit per month. Editors of an NMRA publication shall receive credit for their service at the rate of appropriately for committee chairs. And service as a division officer or division director, other than that of a regional level, shall be credited at the same rate as that for service on regional committees. Don't fall asleep on me, guys. Don't slow. I hope it's finding it interesting. Prepare and submit material on any of the following subjects: model railroading, prototype railroading, NMRA administration. A total of 42 points must be earned from a combination of material in the following areas. Next. Just to give you an idea, article or columns in national publications, you get 3. On NMRA national, you get 3. NMRA region, you get 2. And the NMRA division is 1. Photos or artwork, 3 on the national publication, 3 on NMRA national, 2 on NMRA region, and 1 in a division. Scale drawings of prototype, you get 6 points on a national, 6 points on national NMRA. You get NMRA region, you get 2, and you get 1 for every one on your division. Scale drawings of prototype, you get 6 on the national publication. That's like the magazine. The NMRA national, you get 6. You get 4 for your region and 2 on your division. Scale drawings of your track plan, you get 3 national publication, 3 in the NMRA national, 2 in the NMRA region, and 1 in your division. The NMRA data sheets, 1 subject. Goes the NMRA national, 6 points. Given at an NMRA sponsored event for your national, you get 6. For your region, you get 4. And for your division, you'll get 2 points. Given at a non-NMRA sponsored event, you get 3 on the national, 2 in a region, and 1 in a division. Next. This is for material that does not, informal publication does not go through a formal publication process with an editor and is most likely published on the internet, but could also include self-published books. Key requirements that the material must be educational in nature and applicable to model railroading. No more than half of the total required points, 21 for author certificate, may be claimed for informal publications. Written material on a blog, website, or online magazine meeting the requirements earns credit at the same rate as the published articles in regional publications. The current AP and MMR awards are listed in the NMRA magazine each month. Those who have earned the Master Model Railroader award are listed both by number and by region on this NMRA website. www.nmra. And that's it. Thank you very much. I'm sure we got lots of questions out there.
Pat, before we open it up for questions and everything, I want to introduce the National AP Chairman, Ray Percy. Ray, I can't thank you enough for taking the time to be here this evening. We've wanted to have the AP National Chairman here for some time, and with your help for Pat, we thought this might be a great opportunity. If you could talk to us a little bit about how you view the AP program, the importance of it from an educational standpoint, and why any serious model railroader really ought to take a hard look at participating in the achievement program. Whether they become an MMR, that's a different story. But there's a lot of benefit to me from participating in the various parts of the AP program, regardless of whether you become an MMR.
Okay, thanks, Jen. And congratulations to Pat and belatedly to Jack. See up there on my screen. And again, it was my pleasure to give him a hand because that's what the AP, national and regional and division managers are here for. And Pat was in a little bit of a rough spot because the Niagara Frontier regional manager, Rick Hatton, passed away in early June. And that left us in kind of a bind. And so there was a lot of upheaval there for a while. And I was more than happy to kind of step in and help guide him through there. The AP, to get to Jim's point, it's really about growing your modeling skills. It's a way to get into areas that you might not have considered otherwise. We all love building models. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. We like running trains, or we wouldn't be here. And the AP basically just kind of puts a structure around that to help you improve your skills in any one of those 11 areas that Pat reviewed earlier. And having grown those skills and gotten one of the certificates, it's about helping others grow those own skills. And that's one of the reasons I was happy to help Pat. Because other people have helped me along the way as well. I can tell you without a doubt that I'm an immeasurably better modeler for having participated in the AP. It really, my first exposure to the AP was in the 1978 Dearborn National Convention. My father had taken us up in the family truckster, and we spent a day up there. And I remember walking into the contest room, and there was an absolutely gorgeous HO scale concrete coal dock that ended up winning Best of Show. And that model stuck with me for years. Really, even now, what is it, 50 years later nearly, as one of the most outstanding examples of modeling I've ever seen. And I remember coming out of that room thinking, I want to learn how to build models like that. And that's really the thing that really drew me into the AP. Now, it wasn't until many years later that I actually joined the NMRA and actually started participating in model contests. And one of the first ones was at the '93 National in Valley Forge. And there was a article in Model Railroad Craftsman about a Norfolk and Western combination depot. I had built a model of it, and I took it along with me with the idea that I put it in the contest room. And I got there, and they handed me the forms. And I had no idea what to do with these pieces of paper. But I did have enough presence of mind to look at the guy behind the desk. His name was Ralph Oxhandler. He was from the Pacific Coast region. And said, look, I work for the government. I know there is a right way and a wrong way to fill out this paperwork. Will you please tell me what the right way is? And Ralph went aside with me, and we talked about the forms for 45 minutes. And it was then that I realized something else that has been mentioned a couple of times here earlier, is that the paperwork is not that bad. It is about understanding what it is you're trying to do, and that's to guide the judges or the model evaluators to the things that you want them to look at and the things that you want them to notice. If there's something you don't want them to notice, you can ignore that. But you're helping guide them to give you credit for the things that you want to get credit for. The paperwork does not need to be terrible. Anymore, if I enter a model contest, I provide no more than 2 pages of typewritten documentation, because the model evaluators don't have time to look at it. They've got 50 models to go through in a matter of 5 hours. You're going to get 5 or 10 minutes. So you're doing them a huge favor by consolidating what it is that they need to know. By looking at the judges' guidelines on the webpage, you can figure that out pretty easily. And if you can't figure it out, that's when you call your division or your regional AP manager, or you send me a note and say, hey, I'm struggling with this. Can you please help me? Don't read more into it than you need to. It's just take it at its word and run with it that way. I mentioned I'm an immeasurably better modeler, and Pat mentioned a list of names of people that have helped him through the process over the years. Every one of us who have earned an MMR or are involved in the AP has a similar list. Some of them you may have heard of, some of you I guarantee you haven't, but they're all equally important to each of us on our individual journey. And I credit my own list, but again, it's nothing substantially different than what Pat just did. So I want to recognize that. I can tell you I've met some amazing people through the AP program. And as much as we talk about models and details and what is necessary for conformance, and how do you scale complexity when you're evaluating construction and things like that, it's about the people that you meet and you work with, and that help you and you help on the AP journey. And that's the value. As much as it is about making yourself a better modeler, it's really about the people that you meet along the way. I've got lifelong friends that I've met through the AP, and I treasure every one of them, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. So with that, I think, Jim, we'll just open it up to any questions that people have for Pat or myself.
I think that's great. And Ray, thanks again for being here. I know you're busy and this is time consuming, but I really do appreciate everything you've done for Pat and for your presence here tonight. Anybody have any questions for Pat?
Jim, I got a secret for you.
Yeah.
Thank you for getting me out of hanging another curtain rod.
I've been there, done that. Anybody?
Or at least delaying it for a day.
There you go. Anybody have any questions for Pat or comments for Pat or for Ray?
Don't all speak at once.
I don't have a question, but I want to say congratulations to Pat.
Thanks, Greg.
I know that that he helped me, and I hope I helped him a little bit with a couple of questions and answers back and forth. And when I look at the layout and the buildings that he's built, I can't think of a better ambassador for what the modeling skills that an MMR can represent. So congratulations, Pat.
Thanks, Greg. You're making me blush.
I'd like to second that.
Thank you very much.
And this site has been a big help. You know, you're talking about the AP and everything else. The people on this site are just wonderful people.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm
Beautiful.
and I'm proud to be part of it. Thank you.
You're welcome. We all have fun.
I'll say you've been a
Not
big help.
having fun. Why are we doing it?
That's right.
Yeah, Pat. So just congratulations, and
Thanks,
you know,
Bill.
it's just amazing modeling, and you know that volunteer stuff. You should have gotten that twice over. You should get an extra AP just for that. So.
I think you can only do it once, but it was fun. I enjoyed it a lot.
Ray, one of the questions that has come up privately to me, and I'll mention it to you because I think I know what the answer is. People are concerned about this super detail. What the hell does super detail mean? What is a super detail model? I mean, what's that rock look like?
Yeah, well, and again, this is something that we are working with to establish a firm definition within the AP, because right now there was a congressman many years ago who was asked to define pornography, and he says, "Well, I can't, but I know it when I see it."
Yeah.
And for too many years, we've been treating super detailed models kind of the same way. I'm not sure, I can't really define it, but I know it when I see it. And we owe the NMRA members better. We owe the model evaluators better to help get them off the hook for having to make that judgment call. And we owe it to the AP staff who has to go through and validate these awards. What we're looking at doing right now is establishing a firm requirement, basically that the three categories of models that have that super detailed requirement are motive power, cars, and structures. And so what does super detailed mean with respect to each of those three categories? And we've been jawboning about it amongst ourselves here for about 2 months. I think we are closing in on a definition that everybody can live with. There's a danger of being overly prescriptive, and then there's a danger of not being prescriptive enough.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the thread that we're the needle that we're trying to thread here. So I am sending out a final proposed draft to the regional AP managers here later this week. And I'm hopeful that I can get enough thumbs up that we can go ahead and make it official and get it out to the membership. There's an advantage that we have with this. There's the requirements for the certificates and everything. Those must be approved. Any changes to those have to be approved by the NMRA board.
Right.
The definition of super detailed does not. So we don't need to wait for their meeting in Amherst in order to make that change. So I'm hoping to get it done sometime within the next 6 weeks.
Thank you so much. We look forward to it.
Anything we can do. When I took over the program about a little bit more than a year ago, there was really 3 things that I wanted to do with the program, and one was to remove barriers, and its ambiguity like that in the definition of super detailed, I consider to be a barrier. And it gets back to the words that one of the gentlemen had said earlier. I don't want to participate in the AP because it says super detailed, and I don't know what that means. Right. And I think we owe it to people like that to tell them exactly what it means.
Another thing that Pat ran into that I laughed about when he told me, Pat was being told that everything that had to be judged at a contest, that no one could come to his house to judge his models. He had to pack them up and take them wherever the contest was going to be held to get them judged. And so having that kind of information floating around out there is really a detriment to a lot of modelers to even consider becoming involved the AP, because taking a model that they built and have a lot of time and effort in and trying to get it on an airplane these days and fly to a convention somewhere just to get it judged is going to be a non-starter. And I told Pat, I said, Pat, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. You know, a lot of my models were judged in my home. In fact, I preferred it because I could stay with the judges. And if they were having a question and I could tell that they were having a question, I could step in and say, well, I didn't write that down, but this is what I did, or this is how I did it. And it was beneficial to me learning about modeling, and it was beneficial to the judges. So I think, I don't know where the confusion is coming from, but if Pat is being told that, other people are being told that too.
Yeah, I know, and I've run into that as well, or that we can't do, you know, COVID is over, we don't do remote judging anymore,
Right.
or things like that, and
Right.
it's blatantly not true.
Right.
And so again, this is one of those things where my suspicion is it's a division person who, you know, was told that by the previous division person, and it's kind of propagated along those local lines. But the fact of the matter is that is absolutely not true. In fact, where we're talking about starting something we're calling AP outreach, wherein we really put a concerted focus on meeting modelers where they are, because there are a lot of modelers who, you know, the things are built into their layout, or they don't want to transport them for whatever reason,
That's
or
right.
can't transport them for whatever reason. And so if they want to participate in the AP, or if they want to have something judged for a merit award, then we'll find the judges and we'll get them out to your house. There was one case out in southern Utah. I was probably about 6 months ago or so ago. Jim Wanloss, who was the AP division guy in northern Utah, was on a family trip. There was a guy in southern Utah who had a fabulous model railroad. He was an incredible modeler, but had never had anything judged.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yep.
And so Jim went down there. He met up with two of the southern Utah folks. He trained them how to do model evaluations, and over the course of a weekend, they did 6 structures and 4 cars and scenery and civil and electrical, and validated as chief dispatcher and validated as volunteer, and at the end of the weekend, the guy came away with all the certificates necessary for an MMR.
Yeah. Yeah.
But again, you can't do that if you don't do home judging.
Exactly. And it surprised me that Pat was being told that. And when I told him, I said, no, Pat, go back and tell him, no, that's not true. If you want it done at your house, you can get it done there. And he went back and they changed their position when he went back and confronted them. But if he hadn't done that, then he would have been, you know, I'm not sure that he'd get his MMR today. So it's just something that it's out there, you know, and something else. And I don't know whether this is true or not. This is kind of gossip that I've heard. I've heard that there's a movement toward consolidating every AP decision for MMR at the national level. And in effect, taking the division and regionals out of that decision.
I have no idea where that came from. Gotcha. Absolutely not true.
Gotcha. It still goes through the division, still goes through the region. Just
absolutely.
Like it comes to the national for the final okay, but no change in who makes the initial decisions.
Yeah. Now there might be the origin of that might be that we've gone through the last few months. I have asked to have all of the documentation for all of the SOQs forwarded to me for national, basically just as a quality check.
Yeah.
Just to go through and make sure that we're doing things properly, that we're not letting things slip through the cracks, because one of the things I wanted to do when I took over was to make sure that we maintain the standards. And we found a couple of cases where we needed to bounce them back. Right. But other than that, I think we're talking 2 SOQs out of a couple of hundred since we started doing that. So it's a very, very small percentage. So that might be the origin of what you heard about, Jim.
Something else, it's many people don't understand. People think that the national chairman appoints all the regional chairmen and appoints all the division chairmen. And it's so funny because they don't realize that the regional chairman is appointed by the regional president. And the division AP is appointed by the division superintendent. And the national chairman comes in and says, hey, I don't have a staff. I don't have anybody that I appoint or that works directly for me. I got to work through these people that somebody else has appointed. And people don't understand that.
Yeah, and but again, this is one of the things that's absolutely right. They get appointed by the president at the whatever level you're talking about. Just like I was appointed by Gordy Robinson.
Right.
And the fact of the matter is, I haven't met all of the 150 or so division AP reps. It's my goal to do so,
right,
but I haven't done it yet. I haven't even met all of the regional reps, but I can tell you that they're all really top-notch people, and they're doing their best, and they want to help people, and they want to promote the program.
And I would encourage everybody to at least take a hard look at it. Whether you join the NMRA, I'll leave that up to you. I'm not pushing that for New Tracks, but I do think that the achievement program is number one, the best modeling education you can ever get anywhere in the world. There's nothing better than the NMRA's achievement program. And I really encourage everybody to take a hard look at it. You don't have to become a member at this point. You can just take a look at it and see what's involved and see if any of it meets your cup of tea. You don't have to be an MMR. Just pick an area that you want to learn about and try that on and see how it fits for you. Because I guarantee you'll come away with a lot of knowledge that you never knew that you even needed, and you'll be amazed at what a better modeler you'll become.
You want to get a good flavor for what the program is. Cynthia Priest did an article in the October Model Railroader on her personal journey towards an MMR. She's not quite there yet, but
right,
she's getting awfully close, and it's a great article in the October MR.
Any other questions for Pat or Ray, or comments about what Ray and Pat are talking about?
Let's focus this on Pat as we wind this up here. Pat, why don't you give us a summation of what this meant to you, and what did you gain from it, and what did you learn from it, and how would you mentor others on it? And then we'll close this out. Yeah.
Well, I've learned a lot from everybody on this show, and a lot from friends of mine who are MMRs and otherwise. And there's a lot of great modelers out there. I'm not one of the best. Trust me. There are some that just blow your mind with the work that they do. And I know that they could be an MMR if they just tried a little bit. I think the biggest thing is to put your mind to it, which is really hard for me sometimes, keep my mind occupied on what I'm doing. But if you work with the other people, they'll help you get there. And that's what I found the best about working with Ray and you, Jim, and Tom and Phil and Greg and all these guys on this program. Plus my wife, she kept me going. It's a good thing to have your wife behind you. I'll tell you that right now. If you don't have her behind you, you're going to have some problems. You have to work harder. Anyway, yes, I believe that everyone in the family can help you if you want them to. Don't be afraid to ask. That's what I found the hardest, is to ask somebody. And if they give you an idea, listen to them, because they've done it. They know what it's all about. And you apply that to what you're doing, and you'll get there. And like one person I know can get there right away is Tom. So don't give me any hard times, Tom. Yeah, I know you can do it.
It's a paperwork thing for me.
Here we go with the paperwork. Yeah, I know.
But
Ask Ray to help you.
I can do the paperwork. On your achievement of this award, you did it post after basically a lifetime of model railroading. did you find that you went back to your layout and improved some things for this award? Did anything new come of it, or was it simply of pulling out old models? I mean, what did you get most recently out of, what was the positive thing you got out of this after completing it? Anything to your layout or models?
I did see things on my layout that I wanted to change, and that was some of the turnouts. I wanted to improve upon them and detail them a little more. Another thing that really hit me was building the stretch buildings, like the buildings I like to do. And building trees was my first go around, but I found building structures was one of the greatest parts that I enjoy the most because I was in the building business beforehand and I knew what it was all about. So it kind of helped a little bit there. I also
Having
worked on a, go ahead.
having seen your least photographs of your layout, the rock work, scenery is stunning and the painting of it. But tell us about those trees. It's tough without a model in front of it. How large are some of those evergreen trees? What's the average height?
2 to 3 feet.
See, doesn't come across. I would have never guessed that. So that into itself is pretty amazing. And perhaps we can get you to do a little segment on building trees since it's one of your favorite things to do. And who knows, maybe some of them will wind up in Bloomington, Indiana.
I always invite people to come over and I teach them how I did it. It's not
Yeah,
hard.
I'm thinking of coming to see you
I
before
got an
you.
extra bedroom. You too, Ray. You want to come down? You're welcome.
Well, I want to thank Jim Kello for his return to the show and our guest, Ray. Thank you for all you did to help our friend and mentor, Pat, achieve this great accomplishment. And Pat, most of all, thank you. Congratulations, and look forward to your mentoring going forward. Congratulations again.
Thanks very much to
And Ray,
everybody.
before you leave, I do want to make sure that you understand that now you can also include the designation New Tracks Mentor after your name. Because you've met one of our qualifications. You've done a presentation on our show. And if you decide you'd like to come back and talk to us some more about the achievement program, about show some of your models, whatever, you're most welcome anytime. Because we really want to get closer to the achievement program if we possibly can, and I'm looking for ways of doing that.
Okay, thank you again.
Okay, I appreciate that, Jim. And let me think about what I can come up with. I'm sure we can work something out.
That would be great. Look forward to hearing from you.
Thanks,
Okay,
Ray.
thank you, three. And next up, we've got the MyBuild with Chris Coarse. But before we run the MyBuild, I'd like to run a little video on our New Tracks Modeler magazine. In
Get more New Tracks modeling by reading the New Tracks Modeler magazine. Each edition of New Tracks Modeler includes exciting articles about modeling shown on the show, other modeling topics, and prototypical railroading information. Other articles focus on outstanding model railroaders and new products from a range of suppliers. Don't miss the photos of the popular New Tracks MyBuild. You can download New Tracks Modeler for free from the New Tracks Modeling website. Subscribe so you don't miss an issue.
One quick word on the magazine. The October 2025 issue is complete. Some of you have seen the preview, but it's all tuned up and ready for a October 1st release. This will be our, I believe, our fifth magazine, and the magazine has gotten better each and every issue. More comprehensive, nice photographs, and that's thanks to you, the people that participate in the writing of articles. And as you know, I have the ability to take these YouTube videos. We break out these segments on YouTube. I now have the ability to not pester you to put text in your PowerPoints. I can get a article out of your YouTube presentation without any text on the actual slide, a new technique that technology that I employ. So we basically have an infinite supply, over 1,000 YouTube presentations that we can turn into articles. And why that's important, it's not just a rehash of past programs. Our New Tracks subscriber list continues to grow. We have approximately 10,000 subscribers on the magazine. Each YouTube segment is now up to over 400 views. A lot of these are new people and haven't seen some of the work that we've done in the last several years. So it's a great opportunity. If you're not subscribed, go onto our website, newtracksmodeler.com, and subscribe to the magazine. So now I'd like to have Mr. Chris Coarse, the host of one of our most popular segments, the MyBuild. Chris, welcome to the show again. As I say every show, very popular program. It's all yours, Mr. Coarse.
All right. Thanks, Tom. And congratulations again, Pat. All right. Tonight, let's see, we have a program for you. And tonight's challenge is backdrops, flats, those sorts of things. So we didn't have a whole lot of entrants, but I think we do have quite a bit of content to share with everyone tonight. And first up is Greg Cassidy. You up, Greg?
I'm here.
All righty.
I have to remember what I sent in.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Okay. This was when I was building my layout in the early 90s. And this was my first attempt at doing a backdrop. And what I had done was mounted some masonite on the wall. And my bench work was still away from the wall at the time, so I could paint the backdrop. After I was done with that, I moved the bench work up against the wall and attached it. But I had tried the method of just putting on blue paint and then kind of fading it into a white as it gets near the horizon. And I thought, well, that'll suffice. But that's not what I ended up with. Next. What I ended up with was a friend of my wife's said, I can paint that for you. Well, we had a couple of her paintings hanging in our house. She was an accomplished artist. And I said, well, I'd like some mountains and some clouds. Could you do something like that? And she said, sure. So before I had moved the layout back against the wall, she had 2 or 3 days where she came down and painted this stuff. It wasn't until after she was done that I realized she was an impressionistic artist, and she had kind of done her impressions of the mountains and the clouds and the stuff. And while it made for a beautiful painting, it wasn't exactly what I had expected, but she was a friend of my wife's and she had put so much work in it. And I said, you know what? I think it's wonderful. So I'll go ahead and leave it like that. And I went ahead and moved the layout against the wall and started building it, as you can see here. Next slide. So what we ended up with was kind of an impressionistic painting, which in some photos works out pretty well. You get the impression of clouds and sky. And there are some ways of taking the photo where it works out well. Next. If I take a picture of one of the cities on my layout, the sky in the background and the mountains kind of fade away and they look pretty representative. And since they don't really factor into the scene, they just kind of fall into the background. Next. There are a couple angles that I can take photos of where it doesn't really quite line up. And this was because when she was painting the backdrop and I was considering where I was going to be putting mountains and stuff, we never coordinated. But it still works in some cases. Next. And again, if I kind of get the backdrop so that it fits in with the picture, then it's not too bad. In this case, it does kind of represent rolling hills. And so for the most part, I'm happy with it, except in some cases. Next. If I try to take close-up photos of anything that's near the back, all of a sudden my backdrop looks like some kind of Salvador Dali painting, and it doesn't look at all like background trees or mountains or anything. So it's something that I kind of learned to live with. Next. And usually when I try to take pictures of my layout, I'll try and have something in the foreground so that the background just kind of blends in and doesn't become that noticeable. And for that, it works very well. Next. Now, the other thing that I've played with backgrounds is when I want to take pictures in other directions. For example, this is taking a photo underneath one of the bridges on my layout. And as you can see, since I'm shooting out into the room, it doesn't look like a very realistic picture. It shows a lot of my Halloween display back there. But I found a way to counter that. Next. In this photo, you can see that there's actually a mountain back there. And this is from the same angle. And since there wasn't any wall there or anything, I had to come up with a way to actually get a mountain back there. And I'll show you how I did it. Next. I had a photo backdrop that I use when I take pictures of some dioramas. And I just got out my hand truck, I clamped a yardstick onto it, and then clamped the photo backdrop onto the yardstick. And so I was able to take a picture in that direction, and I had basically a backdrop behind it. And it worked out pretty well. Next. This is what that area looks like with the photo backdrop in place. And while if it was part of the actual layout, it might match the mountains a little bit better, it still gives a pretty good impression of being a photograph in the background where ordinarily there wouldn't be anything there. Is that it, or do I have another one?
Oh, yep, I guess that one's it.
Okay.
All right.
So those are my backdrops.
All right. Thanks for sharing, Greg.
Uh-huh.
It's funny, I have that same backdrop picture that buried away. It's actually sitting underneath a laser right now, but
it's a nice mountain.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of funny because like eventually I'm going to do Rutland scene, and Vermont mountains seem to have a certain look to it, whereas if you look at like Tennessee mountains or other places, they have a different look to them. But this one actually kind of looks like a Vermont mountain.
Well, my wife, the geologist, would talk to you all about the glacier scarring and why the mountains up north are different than the mountains down south, but I won't go into that.
All right. Are there any questions for Greg? All right. Well, thanks, Greg.
Thank you, Chris.
All right. And now I'm going to throw something out there. I've been working on this project for a couple months now, and it's actually going to be a series of kits. And it is the Town of Gold Dust. Basically what it is it's going to be some HO scale background flats. They are Old West themed. There's actually going to be 3 packs, which each have 4 structures in them. There will be plenty of roofing. It's wood, asphalt, corrugated aluminum, and you'll get that in every pack. Now, one thing that makes this project incredibly quick to build is all of the bracing is laser cut 1/8 inch wood, 1/8 inch basswood rather, and that makes construction very quick and easy. There is board on board decking for the front walkways. There's also some signage options, and it's a quick build. I'm hoping to have this stuff ready for release in right around the time of Timonium. I've done a ton of pilot models. In fact, I've got 4 of them sitting right here. 2 of them are going to have to go back and get reworked again. But even if you're not into, I figure even if you're not into Old West themed stuff, you can get these. And if you're, one of the things I notice as a modeler is I'm looking for a sense of accomplishment. So these will give you a quick sense of accomplishment, and maybe you want to try working on your modeling skills a little bit. If you're an inexperienced modeler, or if you want to try some different techniques, this is a good way to do that. So onward, we will show you pack one, and then we'll go into each one and show you what the different buildings are. So that's what pack one is going to look like. These are the final pilot models on this one. We're going to start out with the Hotel von Stoop. For those of you that remember Blazing Saddles, there are some Blazing Saddles references in here. One of the things I tried to do was last time I had brought out some, yes, Lily. I had brought out some background flats. They didn't sell very well because, I mean, they're just kind of plain and eh. But what I decided to do was take my friend ChatGPT and have it do some work for me and try to make up some posters and things along those lines to make this project more interesting. Oh, by the way, that sign on the left, I did not tell it what the hotel looked like. And if you notice what the hotel looks like in the middle there versus what's on the left, it's strangely very close. So I don't know how ChatGPT came up with that, but okay. And we got a little quote from Joe Walsh there, basically saying he really doesn't, he's not bothered by AI. But yes, I did use AI to kind of spruce up, find a way to find some ways of gaining some interest in this project. Next is the Brimley's Farrier Services. And it's actually named after Wilford Brimley because I was trying to figure out who in the world was a farrier. Well, come to find out, Wilford Brimley was actually a farrier. So that's what we're looking at there. It comes with a 3D printed sign for the farrier, and then a nice little sign otherwise. Moving on, we've got the Gold Dust Bank. I'm not really sure I'd put my money in that or my gold in that bank, but you know, it is what it is. And then there's also a house. There's some houses. I haven't quite figured out how I want to name these quite yet. But that house is actually designed after one that is on it's on a soundstage in Spain of old Western movies. There's and actually I think it might be a theme park now. But I thought that was a neat building, so I brought that one out. All right, now moving on, pack two. From here on, we just have the pilot models. In fact, I've got what was hoping were the finals for some of them sitting right next to me on the workbench, but a couple of them still need some more work. So I've got shop number one, which is it's going to be Northwestern Mining Company. If anybody remembers the TV show Northern Exposure, it's where Joel Fleischman had his office, was in the Northwestern Mining Company building. And these will all come with different signage. So let's say you didn't feel that your Arizona layout would appreciate having a Northwestern Mining Company sign on it, then you could change it and do something else with it. On the photo on the right is of house number 2. And that's kind of an interesting looking building there that'll be in that one. And then moving on a little bit, for those that are familiar with the Madame Marie's structure that we have out, this one is actually going to be a flat. It's named after Madame Marie's. In fact, the signage for it just says Madame Marie's. It is a reference to the Bruce Springsteen song 4th of July, Asbury Park, Sandy. And that actually is about, I just got a Facebook reminded, yep, I just got a Facebook reminder that I was at Madame Marie's about 10 years ago when I took this photo. So Madame Marie's was a real place, but as far as what you do with this building, that's up to you. And then moving on, the shop number 3 is going to be Boris Ridgely Undertaker. Now, I was trying to figure out who in the old Westerns was the Undertaker. And the only thing I could come up with was in Blazing Saddles, there was a hangman by the name of Boris. And I forget the actor's first name. I think it was Robert. His last name was Ridgely. So I kind of put that together. So it's Boris Ridgely Undertaker. Walk-ins are welcome. Group discounts and express service is available. So, and that actually started out life as being Cypress Lounge, which is a reference to the live version of Spike by Tom Petty. All right, pack number 3. Again, pilot models are shown. Some of these are going to look a little bit familiar from other structures. Shop number 4, which started out life as the general store in Painter, Virginia. And I tried a little dockside version of it called Red Wiggler's Bait Shop. But the general store in Painter, Virginia has been turned into this one. I haven't quite figured out exactly what I want to do with it yet in terms of signage. I did find something about a gunsmith because that would make sense for an old West town, or maybe a telegraph or something along those lines. I haven't figured that part out yet, but we'll get there. And then the church, it's kind of actually a strange reversion because for those that remember the Fallen Angel Tavern, which is the full shaped or full scale building, I've chopped it down and basically reverted it back into a church. So this is a fun little build. I'm actually pretty pleased with the way that the church turned out. So you guys ought to enjoy that one. And then there's shop number 2, which is going to be the Gold Dust General Store. And then, well, sort of a happy ending here. We've got the saloon. This I actually wanted to make a building with a doorway in the corner. So that's kind of where the inspiration came on this one. And I looked at an old Campbell's kit for some examples of how to do this properly. But it's got a couple names that I've thrown at it. Guthrie's Saloon. Guthrie's is actually a bar in Colorado Springs that's owned by someone that I went to high school with. I actually grew up with, and she owns that bar out there now. And place that I pass quite frequently, but it's long closed, is Joe Bell's, and that's in New Jersey. So we've got a couple different names and some different signage for that one. And that's about it for now. I'm hoping to get these done and out the first series at least for Timonium. I don't have any prices yet, but I don't think it's going to be all that expensive. I think it'll be probably the $30 to $40 range. I'm not sure because I haven't done the math on it yet. But are there any questions?
Chris, this is Jeff Jordan.
Yeah, Jeff.
Before you do any printing, I can assure you, as a longtime horse owner and somebody who's paid a lot of money to farriers, it's spelt with an A.
Huh.
F-A-R-R.
All right, easy fix. Did I have an E in there?
Yeah, you've got it, farrier.
Okay. All right. Maybe I copied it down wrong now. Okay. All right, we'll fix that. Thank you.
Hey, Chris, at least you didn't call it a furrier.
True. Yep. Although the dog abandoned me, so oh well. He was here. But all right. Anything else before we move on to Phil? All right. You ready, Phil?
I am. Go ahead
All right.
and jump through this.
Okay. think I got your corrections made.
Cool. Yeah, that's good. I just realized it was not a worry. So this is a backdrop for a part of my module. It's basically a 12-foot backdrop piece. I started off by using, this is photos, 2 photos taken with the panorama mode on iPhone 16. So what you do is you put the phone into this panorama mode, you kind of hold it up and move it across, and it takes a picture. This is actually taken just north of Moss Landing in California, which is on the coast. There's actually a park there. This is kind of the wetlands there right by Moss Landing. Over on the very far right, you can start seeing some of the structures for the power plant that's there. You can see at the bottom, when I got done taking these, they're about 9918 by 3928 pixels, which at the resolution I was printing out was going to be about 72 DPI, but it turned out run it through Photoshop to clean it up a little bit. So go ahead and jump to the next picture. So one of the things you'll notice is these are zoomed in a bit, which obviously if you're zooming in where you're standing that close to a backdrop, when you see where this goes in the room, you'll realize you can stand right up close to it. It's not actually on the back of the layout. It comes along the side where you're very close to it. And you see these new millennium objects out there, power poles, different sorts of things, some buildings. If you look there in the upper picture, right in the trees in the middle, you notice there's a nice modern looking house in there, something that wouldn't fit into the 1910, 1920 theme of the layout. So go ahead and jump to the next picture. So what I did was took 2 blocks of one of those panoramic hinges, and they're shown approximately up on the upper right there, those 2 red blocks. And those were turned into 2 images, because these are going to be printed on a 3-foot by 6-foot print image. So there actually that picture was cut up, edited down, and then it was using Photoshop. All the modern stuff was removed, including a lot of the really obvious plants in the lower bottom. You can see those are gone out of the picture as well. There's a few left that they've kind of been darkened in a little bit. So the idea was to make it look more uniform. Didn't want a lot of height because there really are no visible mountains when the sky is a little bit hazy like this. So go ahead and jump to the next picture. So the idea was then when these are printed, they could actually be aligned and would form a single image with a bit of a line in the middle potentially, but managed as best could happen. So these were printed as propylene banners, polypropylene banners at Office Depot. $75 each, $55 if you get them on sale. If you watch Office Depot, typically about once every 3 months or so, they seem to have a sale. So you can get them a little bit cheaper on sale. Okay, so go ahead and jump to the next picture. So this is actually where the banner was, where the banner's backdrop would go. And what I decided was I didn't want to glue anything to the wall, because obviously when you glue things to the wall, if you pull it off, you're going to pull most of the wall covering off with you. So I bought some really cheap 1/4-inch plywood and actually cut that into pieces and nailed that with, I think, 3-penny nails into the studs on the wall. So they're typically about 6 nails on each of those pieces of wood. You'll notice there are breaks. There's a break in the back because that's going to be cove, so I didn't need to go all the way in there. The other 2 breaks are for wires. If you look kind of in the middle photo, you can see my lighting on the top, and you see I bring all my lighting wires down through that break between the 2 pieces of plywood. And then on the far right, on the bottom, kind of bottom right there, you can see I had the blinds that go over the door, and I didn't want to take those out. So what I ended up doing was build a little box and then carried a 1/2-inch piece of plywood down that the backdrop would actually go on. So by doing this, I now had a place to attach it to. Go to jump the next slide. What I did was I used 2-inch foam to make essentially the shape to come off of that block that goes over the blinds and go back to the main wall, and then put corners in the corners. You notice I also painted it blue around the edges. That was kind of a thought process to say that if there was anything that you saw, it would be painted to match the color of the sky, etc. And you notice I put tape on. This is now ready to put linoleum on, and I actually put the tape on, and you notice that the wiring is now kind of taped in place with some kind of heavy duty Gorilla tape. So go ahead and jump to the next slide. So what I decided to do was use linoleum as a backing, and linoleum is, I think, a particularly good backing for backdrops. On my previous layout, I actually used linoleum and coved it. I did a dropped shelf above the layout that matched the basically the dimensions, the footprint of the actual layout. So I dropped down about 16 inches from the ceiling and put in a piece of wood, plywood, to make a shelf, so I had storage above. And what I actually did was run the linoleum on that and then down the wall, so it was coved at the back at the top. I saw that effect, I think, in Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas. I thought it was a great effect. Clearly, the ceiling here is high enough you can't do that. This is current linoleum. I did find one big difference between the linoleum I bought 25 years ago or 20 years ago. It had a paper backing. If you look on the upper right picture, I took that picture and show using a staple to hold it in place. But the reality is it also shows you that the backing on linoleum now is plastic. It's just plastic through and through. The curve coming off of that raised part around the blinds came out pretty good. Unfortunately, I put the glue too close to the corner in the back, and when I pushed it in, it actually pulled a little bit, so it's not as smooth a coving as I wanted there, but it's not bad. And you notice that just like Greg did, I did all this without the module in place. What I did was I used the laser level to do my leveling, and I shot the laser level on the wall right where this is. And I actually put all of this just about a 3/32 above the level I planned to put the module at. Feeling that eventually I would fill it in with Sculptamold, because what I'm putting there really doesn't have any water issues. Go ahead and jump to the next slide. So this is basically what it looks like installed. You can kind of see there the laser level shooting the level across the at the wood on the top of the modules. So this is the module slid back in place. You can see why on the right there, when you actually stand there operating, you're actually standing right next to the backdrop. But then the backdrop just slid into place. The ink is somewhat water soluble, I found, though afterwards it really doesn't look bad. Go ahead and jump to the next slide. This is basically a picture of that end of the layout room. So what you'll have between those two modules is a 4-foot module. It's actually in place now, but I didn't take another picture. Coming at you here off of the edge, kind of center of the big module in front of you, is a 12-foot module. That's the one that's got the structures on it I took to the NMRA convention last year. And so you can see basically the way the layout, the backdrop goes. It goes from the mirror on the right. I decided to leave the mirror up, partially because it makes the room seem a lot bigger, and it's there, and it just was no work to leave it there. Basically, it goes from there and then wraps around with a rounded edge on the edge of that piece that goes over the blinds. And I think that's the last photo. On the point where you kind of see the joint. Oh, there are a couple of, no, that's true. There are a couple of photos just kind of trying to get a look at how it's going to feel when it gets done. Obviously, the scenery on this area is not very done, but you can kind of get a feeling for what it's going to look like. I think the last one here, I actually had a structure that I think go and jump to the next one. This is a structure that I just happened to have around and put it in place to kind of get a feeling. You know, I put some vegetation up against the edge. It should have that feeling of what it really is there. It's a fairly low, and it runs for about 10 miles before you start hitting the hills. And clearly they were in the haze the day I was there. I think that's it.
Yep. All right. Thanks, Phil. Are there any questions for Phil? Alrighty. Well, thanks, Phil. Let's see here. There we go. Hank Primus, you up, Hank?
Yep, I'm here.
Alrighty. I think you have one slide that you
I
sent
have
in.
one slide.
Yep.
This is actually the southern end of my layout. The only thing that's in there really is the backdrop. Now, I want to say one thing to everybody who's thinking about if you're going to have a backdrop, plan for it in the beginning. I did not. Therefore, when my buddy told me you really need to put a backdrop in there, I had 3/4 of an inch to try to get it in there. And basically the sky, some of the buildings in the background are from a pre-printed sheet. And I glued those to a 2x3 sheet of foam core. And from the bottom, I had to try to push it up and then hold it with some adulterated, what are those things called? Clothespins. So when I got the space to actually start building, I was so crazy that I went right ahead and I built almost up to the wall all the way around. Now, if this weren't such a large, this is actually 5 feet from the edge. So that makes it rather difficult to work. So all of the work came up, and these are actually 6 different panels that have gone together. You can kind of see a line going under the clouds. And then I used some paint and some other things to try to meld it all in. Then I used buildings. Some of them are just flats. Some of them are background buildings, very thin ones. And that's what I've got for my southern end of my layout.
Yeah, came out pretty neat.
Well, it did. I actually like it. It really looks cool when looking at it. Because the buildings milled in with the buildings. And actually, somebody looked at it and told me those buildings in the background are actually buildings from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where I grew up.
Cool.
So,
I didn't know you were a Pittsburgher. I knew there's something I liked about you.
oh yeah, definitely Pittsburgh. Big Steeler fan. What can I say?
There we go.
Pennsylvania Railroad forever.
Yep.
But
Alrighty.
there you go.
All right. Thanks for sharing, Hank. Are there any questions for Hank? All right. Well, thank you for Hank, and to everyone that participated tonight. Let's see. Up next, October 22nd, we have a challenge of Halloween and oddities. Please get your submission to me by October 19th. Please, if you have not participated, this is a great opportunity to share what you're working on. Only takes a couple of minutes. And in fact, I'm going to try to recruit I've got a few other people that I want to try to recruit to do some of these segments for the MyBuild. November 26th, anything goes. Your submission deadline is November 23rd. And then in December on the 17th is a challenge, which is layouts. So please send your photos to me. Actually, at any time, but the deadline for that will be December 14th. And then we've got a couple anything goes free-for-alls after that. March is rolling stock challenge. Try to see if we can get Martin back in here. We need to work on getting Martin back. And April and May or anything goes, and then June challenges scratch builds. So anyway, I think that's really all I had. Thanks for watching, and thank you to all those that participated. Please, if you haven't participated in the past or maybe haven't participated in a while, please send us something. We'd love to show some more work. So I'll turn it back over to you, Tom.
Thank you, Chris. Great program this evening, and appreciate everything you do for the show. I have a couple things I'd like to show before we close the show. I'd like to give you a little preview of the magazine, which I actually have completed for the month. I don't know if you're seeing that. I'm not on my normal computer. You see the magazine? No?
Now we're seeing your screen.
There we go.
You see it now?
Yeah, make it full size if you can. Yeah, there you go.
Okay. You're not seeing my bar here, I hope? No?
No.
Okay, good. I'll leave it alone. So that is the cover. The October, I figured we'd want a fall scene. That's an SN3, which we've never actually featured on the show, but and the why should it forward? Why should it do anything? Hold on one second. Let's see if we can get this to work. Okay. So we're going to have to do this the hard way. Okay, so the content is our regular schedules, my little bit, something from Hank on the mentor scholarship, something from Jim Kello on our scholarship. But we've got my Cole Tipple, which I think I featured on the show couple weeks ago. We've got Dan Rousseau, Hand Blown Glass. We've got Andy Root, his railroad. We've got Earl Hackett, Thurman, West Virginia. And then Bob up in Canada, his coastal. But it's a really nice issue. We're getting better and better at this. These are all AI generated pictures, by the way. Those are, and that one is too. That's the coal tipple, just how I built it. These are these two lunatics that visited my house. Step by step how to do hand blown glass for the Andy Root, his little desktop micro layout that he did 90 days for a 90-year-old. Our very own Earl Hackett on Thurman, West Virginia. Bob up in Canada on his coastal. And then all the ads, something on the East Broad Top, some fresh information. So anyway, it's a very nice issue. We keep moving the ball forward. The next thing I want to show is see if this works. So if you can everybody see that?
Yes.
Okay. Well, these are some metrics on the full show. So in 2025, from the period January 1st to today, September 21st, 3 quarters basically. So we have one final quarter to go, October, November, December. But for the 3 quarters of this year, we've had 46,242 views, comprising of 5,878 hours. And each show is getting an average of 493 views. So when I say, we get approximately 400 views, now I'm going to say we get approximately 500 views. Now, are we moving the ball forward? Are we making any progress compared to last year? I took this program over January 1st and have run it through September 24th here. If we look at last year at the same period, this would actually work, For the same period last year, 2024, we had 39,000 views. We had 4,400 views. Or what? Excuse me. Let's go back to here. We had 39,370 views. So this year, we've had 6,512 more views than last year for the same period. That's pretty significant. And then on those views, what's the total watch time? How many hours? Well, this year is 5878. Last year was 4451. So we have 1,427 more hours on more view hours on our segment than last year, which is encouraging. And the average views, which is very important, went from 493 this year, or went from 262 last year to 493 this year. So if we look at total views, that's a 16% increase year over year. In hours is a 32% increase in total hours. So the people actually taking a view and actually watching things, that total view time went up 32%. So they're paying more attention to the programs. And then we had an 88% increase in the average number of views. So the moral of the story is we increased the professionalism of the show. You know, I stick to these templates because I want to uplift the professionalism of the show. So we've have, as a result, same crew, same guys. We've got an increase in total views, increase in total hours, and our average views have gone up an astounding 88%. So we are definitely moving in the right direction, is the moral of the story.
I have a question, Tom.
Uh-huh.
How many have actually joined, subscribed?
I have that metrics. I didn't put it there, but that's up significantly as well. I'll feature that maybe next week. I'll give you some more metrics if people want to. These YouTube gives you all kinds of ways to look at things.
I think
So
I'd ask people to actually subscribe like everybody else does on YouTube. Subscribe and join or push the hot button or whatever it is they do. That way it brings it up so that you get more support from YouTube.
well, some people have rustled that you know, the incorrectly that the show has you know, we've decreased the number of subscribers, we've decreased the number of views. It's not as strong as it was. So that's all bullshit. We're definitely doing very well. Okay.
I'm not saying we've lost any. I'm saying that we encourage more people to join. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah. So and we're doing well, and we keep moving the ball forward. So with that vernacular, I'd
We're
like to
getting
have Father,
fancy.
I'd like to have Father Ron bring the morality of the show back up and close the show out, and then we'll have a caboose.
Master maker of the universe, our scale models imitate your creative spirit, and we learn the genius of your handiwork. Teach us to appreciate all you have made. Amen.
Thank you, Father Ron. Appreciate you coming on the show and being a master modeler yourself. You know, I'm going to hit you up for another presentation at some point. Do you have anything in the works?
Not at this point. There are some things I'm thinking about, but nothing ready right now.
Well, that's always the start. You first visualize it, and then you put quill to parchment. Well, thank you again, Father Ron. And now, Phil, if we could have the closing, the caboose. was an absolutely stunning layout. Beautiful. Any comments on that, Phil?
That
No,
was
it
a
was
nice little workshop too.
a brilliant layout and great workshop. It was very nicely done. Love the harbor scenes.
That was located in
It was outside of Detroit. I don't have the exact city. I'd have to
Yeah,
go
but
back and look
Detroit.
at it.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was at the Novi convention outside of Detroit.
absolutely beautiful. It looks
Yeah.
like a lifetime there.
Ones I've seen. That just really gorgeous.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, that concludes our show. Congratulations again, Mr. Rivard, on your MMR. And thank you all the guest presenters to support that segment. Thank you, Mr. Chris Coarse, on the MyBuild. Thank you, Phil, for the Caboose. And we shall see you next week. Same bat channel, same bat time. Have a good evening.